just overlook me. Yeah, if things don't pan out, keep it cooking. You're not a fan, but you keep on looking. Look, don't be concerned with what people saying. Be concerned when they don't care to say it. Funny how people will act like they know you, but they don't even got a clue what they're saying.
Yeehaw, soldiers! It's your boy States coming at you with another video, and this is What If Deku Had the Mjolnir Part 2. There's a lot of positive reception to Part 1 of the series, so here is Part 2. Shout out to Anime Edits for the Deku edit you see in the thumbnail. His channel will be linked in the description. I'll be dropping my schedule over the weekend for my next set of What Ifs, so stay tuned for that. I also did drop something I could start on either this channel or a second channel called Advice for Sage. It was on the topic of money management, and I suggest you check it out as the content of it is kind of important. Anyways, watch my community tab like a hawk. Watch it for my schedule releases, polls, vid updates, and some other fun stuff in between. Those are all pretty important, so again, watch my community tab like a hawk. Alright, now for quick social media plugs. Twitter is at AnimeStage4. Twitter is a great place for you guys to interact with me, as I do tweet a lot, plus acts another way to get notified of my videos. So follow me on Twitter. Instagram is anime_sage4. Instagram is a great place to interact with me, as I do post pretty frequently on there. So follow me on Instagram. Follow me, finally join my Discord server. If you join, you can get sneak peeks of supplementary content, notifications of when I live stream ahead of time, and of course, you can suggest to me ideas directly. It's also a great place for you guys to interact with me, so join my Discord server. The link will be in the description. Alright, time for half of the usual checklist. If you haven't seen part 1, the link will be in the description, and with all that out of the way, let's get right into the story. It is after Deku has defeated the sludge villain. Deku is shocked by the sheer power he has just unleashed. Bakugo is as well. Deku puts Bakugo down. Bakugo is seeing a very different person right now. Whoever it is not Deku. It is a completely different person. No, not a person. A god? It can't be. No way he is staring at a god right now. Deku thinks to himself, am I really that strong right now? Deku remembers he only released 5% of the Mjolnir's power. And Deku is starting to think to himself, what happens if he gets to 100%? All Might, meanwhile, has to take a moment of what just happened. The boy he had just told he cannot become a hero has just unleashed power that is the equivalent of his Detroit Smash. All Might kind of feels like he has to apologize, but then sees the hammer and realizes now might be a time to do two things. 1. Take the kid away and apologize to him. And 2. Ask him what the hammer is. As Deku is being hounded by a group of reporters, All Might takes Deku away to talk to him privately about what just occurred. Bakugo is shocked again at what just happened, as All Might had appeared and swooped Deku away. No, that is not Deku. It is a powerhouse. He didn't even have the chance to say thank you. Later on, All Might will have his talk with Deku. All Might first starts off with apologizing to him for saying that he could not become a hero, especially after his display on the sludge villain. All Might then says an all too familiar phrase, "Young man, you too can become a hero." Deku in his joy will cry just like in canon, because it means so much to him to hear those words. All Might then gets a bit serious and asks what is that hammer. Deku kind of stutters a bit, but Mjolnir then gives him the go ahead. So, Deku tells All Might all about the hammer, how it is called the Mjolnir, and how it shows him to use its power. All Might is intrigued by this hammer, wants to see if this hammer's name has ever been said or used before. So, All Might thanks Deku for the information and flies off. And let me just tell you guys this, no, Deku will not get one for all. That will be given to Mirio. Let me make this very clear to you guys. Deku has the powers of a god. If I gave him one for all, he would be way too OP and would kind of make the story less interesting. So no, one for all for Deku, he does not need it. Deku will then head home and will think about the next 10 months ahead of him. As he knows, he has 10 months before the UA exam. Inga will hug Deku as soon as Deku comes into the house, as she saw everything on the news, and she might want a bit of an explanation. So Deku will tell his mom about the Mjolnir, and it will satisfy Ingo, and it kind of gives Ingo the realization that Deku can now become a hero, so she hugs her son again in excitement. Deku will then later go to bed, and thinks tomorrow might have to be the start of his training, so he can figure out all of his powers and stuff like that. Deku will then be put into his mindscape, as Mjolnir kinda wants to talk to him. The Mjolnir, instead of the ... will actually communicate to Deku in actual English, saying hello, Deku. Deku is kind of shocked Mjolnir is actually talking to him, but Hammer explains that since he and Deku have now kind of bonded a bit, as in since Deku used Mjolnir to take down Sludge Villain, they now have a bit of a functioning relationship. Mjolnir can now speak to him in actual English and stuff like that, so it feels appropriate. Mjolnir says he could also speak to him in Northern German, and he could understand it just fine, but he prefers doing it like this. Also, narrator, i.e. me, is more of an English and Spanish guy, not a Northern German guy, and I am not going to attempt to speak in Northern German because that will be very embarrassing. Deku then asks what the Mjolnir would like to talk about, and the Mjolnir will answer, well, you did get my power, but unfortunately, my awakening might have some very bad consequences. Deku asks, what do you mean? And the Hammer will talk about the potential rise of Nordic beasts. Deku is very confused, so the Mjolnir answers, in my time, there are many frightening beasts that even gave my previous user a bit of trouble. All I am saying is that as you get stronger, as the presence of my power in this realm is felt, it is very possible that those terrifying beasts will rise again to cause trouble in your world, and to seek revenge for what my previous user did to them, so they will most likely be after you. This kind of terrifies Deku, but then says the heroes could probably handle them. The Mjolnir then says, you fool, these are not ordinary beasts, and the power you have isn't some power. These are godly beasts, and you right now have godly power, wielded by none other than Four. Deku will then ask, who is Four? The Mjolnir then asks Deku, have you ever heard of Nordic mythology? Deku then wide-eyed realizes, wait, those were real? Deku then says that they had only touched on Nordic mythology briefly in mythology class, and finds it crazy that Nordic mythology is real. Mjolnir nods, but says the stories have been misconstrued over time. He won't tell Deku the details that got him to where he is now, and will tell Deku more details the stronger he gets. The Mjolnir explains that his previous user 4 was a powerful god, and was only rivaled by his own brother Loki, and both at a certain point were surpassed by Odin, their father. However, over time, Loki became corrupted, and started causing chaos everywhere, including the human realm, which was many years before they started developing quirks in terms of human evolution. Loki is also responsible for the Nordic beast being in the human world, but he will tell Deku that story when the time comes. And unfortunately, Odin was growing weaker, and everything came to a halt as Loki soon possessed Odin's spear, and soon after, killed Odin. Thor then had to fight Loki using only his Mjolnir. Thor was able to come out on top, however, the battle left him in horrible condition, especially since when Thor wanted to spare Loki, his own brother, Loki sneak attacked him, which left Thor in worse condition, and in a near-death state. Loki would then say, one way or another, there will be someone who will continue the chaos for me, and once that happens, there will be nothing you can do about it. Loki died right then and there, but not before stealing his power into the scepter on Earth, the human realm. Thor knew he had to act, as the Nordic gods and everything as they knew it was coming to an end. Asgard was in shambles, nothing was left. Thor did not want this to happen, so he ended up stealing the Mjolnir on Earth as well. However, whatever happened to Odin's spear is unknown. The Mjolnir then says there was also stuff in between, such as the battle and other stuff like that, but that is essentially the important stuff you need to know right now. The Mjolnir then states that the scepter probably felt the presence of Mjolnir on Earth. It has been waiting to seek revenge once it is awakened, which is the second thing Deku has to worry about. Who gets chosen to wield Loki's scepter? Mjolnir explains that unlike him, the scepter will give its user all the power in the world, but it comes at a cost. Their sanity. Whoever gets the scepter will have the same chaotic and destructive tendencies Loki had. The worst part is, over time, both items have gotten stronger and more powerful as the years have gone by. So Deku is destined to become even more powerful than Thor. Slight problem. So is whoever gets the scepter in terms of Loki, if you know what I'm saying. And the battle between Deku and whoever gets the scepter may have the entire universe on the line. Deku is now unsure of whether or not he can protect the entire universe, by which the Hammer will then state that he chose him for a reason. He thought that he was more worthy than All Might, and that is saying something. He will then explain to Deku about how All Might's quirk is like the Mjolnir, and Deku is shocked his quirk can be transferred, All Might's quirk, and wants to know how he knows that, to which the Mjolnir will respond, kind of sarcastically, I am a godly weapon who has been searching for a new cannon for thousands and thousands of years. I think I would have done my research. Deku's then like, oh yeah. The Mjolnir then will explain that he will help Deku as much as possible, but at the end of the day, it all rides on him. Deku now is ready for a challenge. The hammer then tells Deku that he actually used 2.5% of his power, as he had to limit the power, as it could have done a bit too much damage to the city, which will shock Deku even more, and now wants to know, how strong is 5%? The owner then says that he cannot tell anybody else about him, and that he needs to come up with a quirk name. And immediately, Deku has a name, Thunder God. The owner is satisfied, and tells Deku they will start training in the morning. Before he goes, he tells Deku there will be changes to his body, and Deku will be very curious. When Deku wakes up, Deku realizes 3 things. 1, he is ripped. 2, he is taller at around 5'9". And 3, he now has light blue hair. Deku wonders if these were changes the hammer was talking about, to which the hammer will answer, yep. Once Inko sees this, she kind of needs a bit of an explanation again, if you know what I'm saying. And Inko is then satisfied, because Deku will explain that. Deku then starts training so he can get used to his unbelievable power. He'll train off in the wood areas, start flying, lightning control, and test out his crazy strength and speed. Deku feels extremely powerful. Deku makes sure he masters some other techniques to just create lightning of his own in case the Mjolnir is stripped from him. Deku at the end of 10 months now has access to 7 to 8% of the hammer's power, as Deku has been able to train himself to that point. But he can't unleash it without the hammer's permission, or if you are in a bit of an emergency, if you know what I'm saying, as the hammer wants to restrict some stuff, unless Deku wants to destroy a huge chunk of the city. Deku then has an extra day to study, and will also rest, so he can prepare for the exam. How will Deku do in the entrance exam? You have to find out in the next part. Thank you all for watching part 2 of What If Deku Had the Mjolnir. I hope the series takes off as much as I think it will, as I think the writing potential of the series is pretty insane. Make sure to watch out for my schedule release over the weekend, that is very important. Make sure to watch my community tab like a hawk, following mine right there, that is also pretty important. And now finally, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join my Discord server. And that is all I have to say. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and of course, share the video. This has been your boy, the Anime Sage, signing out. Peace. YEEHAW. Bye bye.